Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, whatever time it is, whenever you're watching this. It's Smarty Bob. It's Wednesday, a little after 6. Sun's coming up, but it hasn't broke the horizon yet. Today is Wednesday, Hump Day, also known as Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a very interesting day in the history of the United States, and I suggest you go to Wikipedia and read about Juneteenth and what all it means. It's very interesting history. And it's going to be my church warden day of Pipe Week. So, I do have a wonderful church warden pipe. I actually like this one, and I'm going to show you my church wardens here in a few minutes. But this one to me is the right size, right weight. Believe it or not, you could actually clench this if you needed to. Whoever's heard of clenching a church warden? But today I'm smoking something very unusual in the morning. Molte Doce. And there's a reason I'm smoking this morning. Normally I start my first bowl of the day with Carter Hall, and I'm having some coffee. And I started out my day with Artie, and on this day. Pretty good this morning, I'm surprised. Well, let's talk about church wardens. And first of all, I'm not a church warden expert. I'm not even a pipe expert. And my opinion is like everything else. Everybody's got a different take on things. But go to the Pipe Smokers magazine and read about church wardens, where they come, what their purpose was, who had the first church warden or long stem pipe, the advantages of a long stem pipe, and there's lots of them. You need to go read it. All this smoke takes all this time to travel, and it cools down. Tastes better. Some of the rumors they say about church warden pipes are just that. In one article it says the church warden liked it because they would smoke their pipe, and all the smoke would be out here, and it wouldn't burn their eyes. Well, watch what happens. The smoke's not here, it's here. Go read church wardens. Now let's stop and take a look at the few church wardens I have. So today we're going to look at some church wardens, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on. But church warden is definitely an interesting way to describe a long stem pipe. And throughout the years, there's been many reasons, explanations for church wardens. If you follow the Hobbit people and the Tolkien people and the Lord of the Rings people, they all had pipes that had longer stems on them. Then as we've tried to define or figure out where the term church warden come, it seemed like there was a time where the church guards, our church wardens, were sat around on church property, patrolled church property, and during the wee hours and actually before electricity, they needed to have clear vision. So, but they did walk around smoking their pipes or sitting around smoking their pipes, and they didn't want the smoke to get in their way to affect their vision. Now that's just one explanation. You can read other explanations that say that the church wardens wanted to get the smell away, or some of these gentlemen wanted to get the smoke smell away. And there is rumor, has it, that some people say that if they are around a person that's smoking a regular pipe that's 6 inches or less, that they do get more of a smoke smell in their clothes and in their hair and on their face and on their body. But if they have a church warden, it's less likely because the smoke is definitely farther away. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but right now, to me, anything that's got a 10-inch stem or longer should be probably classified as a church warden or maybe a mini church warden. This is a Cobb, Missouri Meerschaum Cobb. This is the Elf, and it's one of their longest stem pipes. I really enjoy this pipe. You saw it on Cobb Tuesday, and it's a great pipe. It's got a full length stem on it. It's actually a real good smoker because the bowl is so large, which is unlike most church wardens. You could actually smoke this for about an hour. My second church warden, which is really a church warden, I got this from my local tobacconist, my local brick and mortar store. It is briar. It's got a full length stem on it. Of course, just about all my pipes you're going to see the rubber bits on them. And this smokes weather well. I've smoked this about 3 times. And I may smoke it today yet. But it's an interesting pipe, a lovely pipe. I like it. Get a lot of compliments when I'm smoking. A lot of people that normally walk by a pipe smoker, if they see a church warden, they take a double take. This here is a Gridwall pipe from Paul, Pipes of Old. And I have 2 of his wonderful pipes. This is the longer one of the 2, and it definitely qualifies as a church warden. Paul makes all these pipes himself. He's a great pipe maker. And this stem he makes himself. He glues it together and bends it and does all the shaping and molding and everything. And but to me, this classifies as a church warden, although he calls it something else. Now, one of the most interesting pipes I do have here, and I'll turn it around. This is called a KSI. Now, I didn't buy this pipe. It was given to my wife by a friend of hers who knew that I smoked pipes, and had an interesting story. And of course it came just like this, had a couple rubber bands around the box. As we open up this is a KSI pipe. I don't know whether that's an initials of a company or not. There's no other information on here. But when I got this pipe, it come exactly like this. And inside here was about 3 matches. 1 or 2 of them had been struck, and so they were burnt matches, and there was another 1 or 2 that wasn't. When I picked this up out of the box for the first time, I thought it very unusual because inside was tobacco that had been packed in there. The gentleman that got this pipe had packed the tobacco in there and tried to light it. In fact, there was like a pre-light to it. It wasn't even a good pre-light. you could definitely tell that the tobacco had been exposed to the fire, and evidently he couldn't get the draw right or something, and he just let it go out, put it down, put it in the box, and probably said, "This is not for me." This is a very long stem church warden, and it's got an unusual bit on it. Of course, I got my rubber bit on it, but it's got a regular bit. All one solid piece of wood. Of course, it's briar. It's got the same name on there as a KSI pipe. And I've smoked this a couple times. It's a wonderful, does you wonderful smoke. Although this is a littler bowl, and most church wardens do have littler bowls. Well, this is a very unique pipe. I'm sorry the guy had problems with it. By the way, what I did to correct the problems, I ran a long wire down here, and first of all, when I first put it in, I couldn't get the wire past here, right in here. Then I cleaned that out, took a little rod file and filed it out, and got a lot of, looked like it was glue in there. Then I ran it down, and it stopped here, right in here. Wouldn't go down any further. And so the manufacturers of this pipe, when they made it, and they put this, I think this is called a stummel, may be wrong. When they put this in there, they got some glue in here. And the glue clogged up the stem. And they didn't bother to test it, and or maybe they did, and it glued a little bit at the time, but as the glue dried, it actually shut that airway up. The same thing with here. I took this off, this comes off, and right in here, this is all almost glued shut. So I can imagine the frustration this guy had when he bought this pipe, thought he was going to get into smoking a church warden, only to find out that this had problems and he wasn't going to mess with it. So that's my church warden story, and I'm sticking to it. Now back to the regular programming. Now we're back, and you've heard my church warden story and saw my few church warden length pipes that I have. I thought that one pipe was very interesting, how that guy had thought he wanted to smoke a church warden, had just a few little problems, and set it aside. Well, it's pipe week. Are you playing pipe week bingo? Need to check out we're going to have the awards on Saturday at 6 p.m. Looking forward to it. And remember, yesterday was just a memory. Tomorrow's just a promise. If you got an old church warden laying around and you haven't smoked it for a while, think about dragging it out today. And you all have a good day. And now